I'd like to introduce you to Classroom Reading. It's a service that allows teachers to quickly and easily create online course content to complement their classroom instruction. The service comes in two parts. There's an application that the teachers use to create the content and post the coursework online. And then there's an application that the students use where they access the content that you've created. We're going to log in here and access a class that I set up called Early American Literature. So we're just going to make up a fake student name here. But this next part's important. So the passcode is created by you when you create your class. You then share that passcode with the student, and when they put the passcode in, they get access to the class. So in this particular case, we are going to use Hawthorne as the passcode. Now, I chose Hawthorne for illustrative purposes, and what I'm trying to illustrate is actually that it's a bad password to use because a lot of students will not spell Hawthorne correctly. They'll forget there's an E on it. So you're much better off with simple passwords that are easy to remember and easy to spell as well. I'm going to say that this device is owned by me, and when you do that, it will remember the passcode and the student's name. If they're sharing an iPad in the library, they don't want to check that. They want to say share with others. But if they own the devices like their iPhones or their iPads, then they should click owned by me. We're going to enter the classroom, and now you see the material that I created when I set up this demonstration class. What I'd like to point out is that the coursework or the assignments show up in chronological order, and you can see that I set this class up as a Monday, Wednesday, Friday meeting only. And when the student clicks on a title for a particular date, they get the instructions that you've created. And then if the story is available in our catalog of 15,000 stories and novels, poems, letters, and essays, then they are able to also access it online. The other view that they have is of the syllabus. And so this is the same information, just presented to them in a different format. And again, if the story is available online, they'll be able to click right through and get to it. So that's the basic student application. And I'm just going to log out and log back in so you see how that works. Now, this application runs well on mobile devices, iPads. It'll actually run as a native application, but we're not going to cover that in this video. We'll cover that later. So what I want to, I guess there's one other thing I should illustrate, and that's these, the instructions, the assignments, everything is in real time. So I'm going to go to a different computer, and I'm going to access the assignments, and I'm going to go to the Luck of Roaring Camp. And if you're in a situation where you want to make an addendum or a last minute change, or maybe there's a snow day and you want to tell the kids you have to read something else instead, all the instructions that you type are in real time. So I'm just going to go to another computer and type testing, and I'm going to submit that right now. And you can see that testing goes through here and shows up. If you go over to the syllabus, you're also going to see testing. Now I'm just going to go back to the Teachers app, and I am going to edit testing out. Now I'm going to submit, click submit, and you're going to see testing disappear. So there you go. It's gone from there and it's gone from here. Now let's go over to the Teachers app. So I don't have to, the first time you come to set up an account, you do have to register. But after that, you're just going to log in. So it's mine. And I'm going to say don't save. Okay. So this is the class that I created for demonstration purposes. So you can see Early American Literature shows up right here. And then Hawthorne was the passcode that they had to put in. And here's, the grade level, the how difficult the course is, and a description of the course. Just for illustrative purposes, I'm going to add a new course. So we're just going to call that. So I'd like you to see just how easy it is, right? So this is Introduction to Poetry. Intro to Poetry. Passcode, we're going to use Frost. That's a great passcode because it's simple and it's easy to remember. If you tried to use a passcode that somebody else has taken, it will tell you that, and then maybe you want to make it like Frost, and then like if you're at Wyndham High School, maybe Frost WHS, right? Something like that. But you want to keep these passcodes simple for the students. Let's say that we're teaching 10th grade, and that the degree of difficulty is in an advanced level class. And now we're just going to type, I'm just going to put demo here, but you would want to put a class description in. Now, the other thing I should point out is we have a lot of international students and teachers. If you go over to the settings, you do have a choice between whether or not you want to use like the nomenclature for the United Kingdom or from the US. So if we go back to our assignments, if we go back to our classes, you'll see that it's now year 11 instead of sophomore or junior or senior year. I'm going to go back here and change that back to American for the demonstration here. So when you create a class, you then need to add your assignments, and you can see that because you have no classes, you got this bright yellow indicator here, hinting that you should do that. You can either click here to add assignments, or you can add them right there. When you click there, you're brought over to the assignments page. Click the Add Assignments button, and now you're able to search for some of the titles. Now, there are really two things here. There are three things, right? You can assign a title, like if you've given out a textbook of Emily Dickinson poems, for instance, you don't need to give them the online title. You could just assign the title right here. If you want them to do, they have a term paper due or an essay, or there's going to be a quiz in your class, right? So let's say, quiz on Emily Dickinson. And we're going to give it a due date. We'll say that it's going to be on Monday. Prepare for your quiz. And we're just going to submit that. So now you see you have your very first assignment. Now let's go back to the student. So now what we're going to do is, instead of accessing early American literature, just by changing the passcode, we're going to access the class that you just created. So we're going to come back here, and we are going to add a second assignment. And let's grab a Robert Frost poem. Let's grab Carpe Diem. And for due date, we're going to assign it on Tuesday. Read the poem. Prepare for in-class discussion. And now if we go back here, you can see that Carpe Diem is indeed available. Now, if you have to update your instructions, you do that right through here. Let's go and change the date. So we're going to make that the 15th, and then we're just going to say testing to update the instructions. Now, what I should illustrate again is that if the title is available in our catalog of 15,000, you will be able to select it. But let's say that you have, if it's a newer novel or something, it won't, obviously when you search for it, it won't be available. So let's grab something more modern, like The Stand by Stephen King, right? So you search for it, and now you know that it's not available there. When you hit return, it will populate the title for you, and then you need to come in and put in the author's name. And we're just going to give it a date here, the 24th, and read the novel, and submit that as well. So there you have it, right? So we have an assignment. You've seen how to create an assignment. You've seen how to create, select a poem or a novel or something that's in our catalog of 15,000 stories that will then automatically be available to your students. And you can just create, if you have a textbook that you've already handed out, you're able to get that on the syllabus as well. Now, the syllabus view for teachers is a little different from the one that the students have. The timeline is exactly the same, but I also gave you a calendar view. And the purpose of the calendar view is I just want you to have a real quick visual of what your homework and quiz assignments look like. So you can see everything here with the red dot has something assigned. So if you go to the 16th, you'll see what it is. You go to the 18th, you'll see what it is. But this allows you to quickly, go through month by month. And if you've created assignments for the students, right, so we have some in September, we have some in October, you can see, get just a quick visual of where your assignments are. So that's the basic usage of the application. I invite you to try it out. If you want to access the student application, you're welcome to use that Hawthorne password. I'll leave a link in the description. I hope you like this service. There is a way to contact us over here at support.classroom.com. So if you have questions, you have comments or input, anything like that, we would love to hear from you. So please give the application a try and see if your students like it, and let us know what you think.